Jackson did get back and fixed his drawings up. It's a 3-bedroom house. It's on Bachelor Street, 12 Bachelor Street. It's a 10-acre lot, wooded lot, and sloped from where the house is down to the SAS, and then the SAS has a slope in it too. There's a water table with models, and the issues are the slope in the SAS, the high water table. There's ledge, and at that point that I wrote this, there are a lack of references, although Neil has now got, there are pins and there are references. The design is for 4 trenches that are 30 feet by 3 feet with 12 inches of sidewall. It looks like I copied something that says without trenches, but that's not supposed to be there. 480 gallons a day design versus a 440 requirement. It's a 1,500 2-gallon 2-compartment tank. It does require fill. It does require ballast on the tank. What I didn't put down is that the tank does have an outlet filter. The SAS and tank to any wells and wetlands are all beyond the 100 feet. My suggestion is that we approve it, subject to the fill regulations, and that I understand the drawing is in, but a submission of a revised drawing with the SAS elevation change, the additional tie to locate the SAS, new benchmark, addition of a strip and a trench permit note, and the addition of the locus of the lot and trench permit. What are your thoughts, Herb and Lee?
I agree. Let's approve it.
Lee?
Yeah, I can't see any issue here at all. Thank you.
Okay. The next one was Laurie McCool, and that was 96 East Street. That was for a 2-bedroom house, a repair, a complete system. And the review isn't complete. You probably have seen the Herb and Lee that there were, I think, 22 issues that I had with this design, but Laurie had said that she was going to address them, but what she specifically was requesting that we let her know if we are going to grant her the variance to have the SAS to well be only 85 feet so they can reuse the existing well. I did explain that the board's policy is when septic system repairs are needed at the time of property transfer, that we do not grant that well separation variance. My recommendation is we do not do it in this case either. Herb and Lee, what are your thoughts?
I think 22 problems plus the separation issues, we ought to move on.
But we have to at least tell her that we either are or going to give her the variance or not give her the variance.
Not give her the variance and not approve it.
Lee, what is your thought?
No,
Okay.
You're right. We historically have never done this.
Okay. The next one that I have is actually is the Brooks real estate lot. We've seen a drawing, and at the time I wrote this, I said that they hadn't broken any rules yet by putting the well at 75 feet from the proposed SAS, and that our only that I saw the only thing we could do is to rescind the permit to put in the leach field, the septic system. However, I did talk to Gail DeMary today, this afternoon, and she reminded me that in fact there is a septic system on that property right now that's closer than the where they put the new well in, and that we in fact could order them to close the well, abandon the existing well and put in the well where it was supposed to be. And but in any event, with that well sitting there, I don't see that we can allow the installation of the septic system, which is going to be 75 feet at that well. And Bob LeMaitre and I had spoken at the time. In fact, I had included what we approved, and there's a very small area to put that SAS in. And so, at least from the work that was done on site, there isn't another good place to move this system. So my recommendation is that we go to Cushing and say, hey, you screwed up. You need to abandon the well properly and put the well in where it was supposed to be put. Lee and Herb, what are your thoughts?
Have you seen this, Lee?
This particular situation, Herb, I was not aware. I was not contacted by anyone to be on site at any time other than the repair perk with the engineer, but the well was done on their own. I was not part of this scenario. So unfortunately, they've painted themselves into a corner here. I don't see any option other than Dick's recommendation.
Well, that's what I was trying to ascertain, whether you had already been out there advising them, but that wasn't the case.
No, it's unfortunate. It could have been a very easy resolution, but now it's going to be a little more difficult. Other than maybe trying to move the SAS towards their driveway and test the soil there. It's a very tight area.
How much room do they have there?
They could probably shift it more westerly, maybe, I don't know, at least the size of the office building, probably 30-ish, 40-ish feet to the left, heading towards the five corners.
If there's soil.
If there's soil, we don't know that, Herb. If there's any material that's of any value there. They would have to ascertain what option they want to go with. Replace the well where it should have been, or take a chance digging up the driveway to see if there's any good soil there.
Mm.
We put a new system in there in 1985, and it was quite tight then. And I think the only real way to go is to move the well. I hate to say that, but that's because they did a pretty good job on the well. It's just it's in the wrong spot.
So how do
I think what we've got to do is Lee and Herb, we have to decide what we're going to do. In this case, you've got a guy that has a license to put in a well. He put it in the wrong place. He even put it in too close to an existing septic system. He made a mistake, and my feeling is that he's the one that should correct the mistake, not to be, forcing someone else to say. And I guess if he and the owners did something that said, we're happy, we'll dig up the parking lot and see if we can find any good stuff, and they figure out who's going to pay for it, I guess. But from our standpoint, I think until it's resolved, we can't let the septic system go in.
Yep.
But my feeling is certainly the cleanest thing is to say, you guys put it in the wrong place. You put it in too close to the existing septic system, and you have to put it where it belongs.
Yeah,
You can speak, you're not on mute.
I know.
Sounds like Kevin agrees with that.
You're right. I do.
Yeah.
You don't want to dig up the carpet.
No. Just as an aside here, we did do one test hole over towards the parking lot. And there was a lot of junk put over there and then covered up. So, I mean, I really wasn't aware of it until we did that test hole number one, and everybody just kind of backed away and said, not here. So I think the answer is to move the nice well we've got to where it belongs.
That'll be an interesting discussion, Kevin, with your well guy.
I know. I was on site with Cushing today, and they go, I don't know what happened, but we did
When
such
you
a great
look at-
job.
When you look at that and you look at what kind of job, that's probably more work than the old one. But if you look at the actual, we hear the price of a well when we get one put in, but so many of those costs are allocated costs. They're not real costs. And because what really it costs is to move that truck in there, and in 6 hours they've got a new well.
Yep.
So,
And we've already got the road in there. So
I think that's what we should do. On a little side note, I talked to Gail to Mary again, as I said today, and said maybe there's a little blessing in this whole thing. And at the time that we approved this system, Bob LeMaitre and I discussed how little this system was. And my understanding is this building may end up being more of a water user than an office building would be. And that maybe it's actually the time before the system goes in for Kevin and the new owner, whatever, to decide if they're looking for a little more leaching capacity than is there. But that's not our issue, as I explained to Gail. Where it gets nasty is that if it goes in and someone says, oh, I want to change the way that the use of this building, and then start to say, now do more perk tests and things, and then the building inspector ends up saying to the Board of Health, is the system okay for what we're doing? So it's certainly a spot that someone could take a breath and say, do we want to continue on the course we're going? But that's not our business, not now.
Well, that being said, though, just as a secondary note to jump into the mess here, maybe if we do end up moving the well versus moving the SAS, then maybe if they throw the well as far to the northeast as possible to get the equipment in there, if in fact the site does require extra water in a larger system, this would solve multiple problems by getting the well a little further away if we have to do it anyway. You know what I mean?
So I think at this point, we can't allow the septic system as designed to go in until the well issue is resolved.
Right.
But I'd like to, Lee, if you and Herb agree that they put it in wrong, we should tell them they need to move it. Then, especially especially since they've put it in too close to the existing septic system. If they don't put it, if it isn't too close to the existing system, then it has to be the owner that tells them, look at, you put it in the wrong place. But as long as we're all saying it, then, you know, we can make the contact and say that's what has to be done.
Yeah, and maybe it would be beneficial, again, not, you know, to change the world, but maybe the engineer who designed the system should at least be on site and or stake out the system parameters to help in wells, the owners, and probably me at the end of the day to make sure that on round 2, it's a little bit better than round 1 did.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get
All right,
off
so
of this thing.
Yeah, we cannot go forward as is. It has to be corrected, and how they correct it is their discussion.
So when and how do they bring it back to us?
Well, we trigger it by saying that we have revoke the permit for the septic system. That triggers it. And then,
Okay.
and then the rest starts to will happen.
Send a letter.
I move we revoke the permit for the septic system.
Lee, do you second that?
Yeah, I'll second that, Herb. Yes.
Everybody who in favor? I am.
Aye.
Okay, so that passed. That's what we're gonna do, Colleen, and that definitely gets it. If we've got to talk to Cushing, we'll talk to Cushing, but at least it's now made it that it just became something that's untenable for the owners, and it just needs to get resolved. That I've already talked to Bob LeMaitre, and he told me, because I wanted to make sure that he wasn't involved with them, and said, go ahead and put it there. He said, absolutely not. And his feeling was the same as ours. Get the thing moved and do it the way it was designed.
Mr. Chairman, Nancy Brooks. So will Colleen send a letter out to the parties who are involved here?
Yeah, Colleen, why don't you have something up and we'll say that the two things. We've revoked the construction permit for the septic system, and we should tell Cushing that the well is in the wrong place, not as the engineer, not as we approved it, and that it's our belief that it has to be moved. So
Okay.
we'll get that, and so we make sure that Kevin, so the owner gets a copy of that, and we whether they pass it along, or we probably should just send it a copy to Cushing.
Okay. I think we'd appreciate it if you'd send it up to Cushing.
So that's easy to do. We just put a copy so that they get it.
All right.
Okay, the next
Thank
one.
you.
The next one is the Lot 6 Cold Hill. Oh, Neil, you're sitting there.
I'm here.
We approved yours.
Okay, perfect.
And it's just that you have to send in the drawing that you apparently already sent in.
Yep,
And I reviewed the drawing that I got, and it complies with what we need to do.
Okay, I'll get you new copies.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Have a great night and Merry Christmas.
You know what,
Merry
Neil,
Christmas.
Neil, before we do this thing, just make sure when I said, yeah, it is that it's a fill system. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
yeah, we're all set. Have a good
Okay, great.
Christmas.
You too. Merry Christmas.
So what what I suggested with the Cold Hill lot is that the owner had Laurie McCool and Lee was there as a witness, but to have an unused septic tank and D-box filled with water says that that is a very abnormal condition. And so when Gail DeMary asked us if we would allow that system to be used by a new dwelling to be built, we said we had to check to make sure it was in, up to snuff condition. And my feeling is having a full septic tank and a full D-box is not a normal condition. And we should say at this point, no, it can't be hooked up. And Gail had asked, can we pursue it and find out what's wrong and come up with the reason that it's wrong and a fix for it? And that certainly they could do that, but at this point, we can't order it. It's just someone that says, I own this thing that's in the ground, can I use it? And we have to say yes or no. And my recommendation is we say no. Lee and Herb, what are your thoughts?
Well, I would agree with that. Lori mentioned at the time, in her estimation, it would be in maybe the homeowner's best or the landowner's best interest to hire somebody with a camera all the lines and see what's going on to help determine why we got what we got. Also have the tank professionally pumped and see if the tank is cracked and or the plug in the bottom came loose. But as it sits, it's of not much value to anybody right now.
And we
Well,
can't. Go ahead, Herb.
That was my sense. Even 14 years, this shouldn't have passively filled with water. So I think it needs to be pumped and examined. Something is obviously wrong.
Yeah. But at this
Absolutely.
But at this point, we could allow that, but we can't order it. It's just some stuff out in the field. So our thing is to answer the question: can it be hooked up to a house? And we're saying at this point
No.
it can't.
No,
So
that's pretty straightforward.
that is, yep. So that is the answer. So that is my septic story. I guess that gets us. Neil is done. We did cover Lori. So our next appointment is Ron Cox. I wonder, is Ron, are you on board? So that was a new installer's permit.
Well, he has 3 minutes. He's 7:25.
Yeah. So we can,
Why don't we do the minutes?
okay. How are we with them? We had no issues. Herb, I don't think you had any corrections, and I didn't have any corrections on these minutes.
No, they looked fine to me. So I move we approve them.
Lee,
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
me too, Colleen, that they're approved.
Okay.
So the next, well, we can do Colleen's timesheet. That is, I have to grab another spot on my pile. Colleen's timesheet is a normal 70-hour for the 2 weeks. Do we have any issue with that?
Move approval.
Lee?
All set. Thank you. All
Me
good.
too. Colleen, that's approved.
Okay.
Next one is the money payments to the treasurer. We've got $890 for Board of Health permits, $1,145 for licenses, totaling $2,035. Urban Lee, are you okay with that?
Move approval.
Yeah.
Me too, Colleen, so that's approved. The next one are, there are two with Lee's bills. There is we've got a bill for $26.60 for 76 inspections. And then there's another bill for mileage that is $197.20 for 493 miles at 40 cents. On the inspections, are we okay?
I would take issue with the 20 cents.
20 cents is on the, oh, and you have to do the next one, or that's on the mileage. This is the $2,660.
That one's okay.
Me too. So Colleen, that's approved.
Okay.
The mileage is 197.20. Are we approved now, or if you can beat them down for that if you want, I guess.
No, I think I'll let it go.
Okay, so me too, Colleen. So we're
Okay.
set with that. The next, I guess I can ask out again, reach out and see if Ron is here.
I am.
Okay. Ron, we
Yeah.
ask every new installer to come and talk to us. And
Not a problem.
and one of the questions that I had, well, we usually start off by saying, what kind of equipment do you own?
Yep. I
So
have three excavators. I have a Cat 307, I have a Case 9020, and I have a John Deere 270L. That's excavators. I have two skid steers, one with a power rake for finishing up when we're done. I have a John Deere 550 bulldozer. I have 3 Traxel Mack dump trucks, 2 tractor trailer trucks, and it goes on and on.
Okay, so you're well equipped. You're in this business. How long have you been installing systems?
I think about 30 years now.
A long time.
I do in the summer and fall we average about 2 a week. In the winter and spring it's cut down to about 1 a week, maybe 1 every other week depending on weather.
Okay, so are you, when you're on the job, are you the guy that's in charge, or do you have?
No, I am hands-on all septics, hands-on 100%. That
Okay.
is my main thing.
What do you use for shooting grades?
I have a laser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ask a question we always ask. When you come on a job and you start to dig in the ground and find out that what's in the hole is not what's on the drawing, what do you do?
Depending, it would depend on what it was. If it was not natural soils, then we had to get down we would dig it down to natural soils and probably obviously call the town and the engineer and the town agent, let them know that we're going to have to dig deeper. If it was groundwater, again, we would call immediately and find out what the issue was, because if it's not the proper elevation, so.
You gave the perfect answer of saying you're calling the engineer in the town.
Right, right.
That what happens is you need to know that you're the guy with the license. And when
Right.
things don't go right, we're going to be going after the guy with the license. And what you really want to make sure is if something doesn't go right and you end up in court, you want your lawyer to be calling us to be your witness, not your customer to be calling us to be their witness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
I'm at Lee and Herb. I'm very satisfied that Ron can do the work that we would like to have done in this town. What are your thoughts?
I totally agree.
Yep, absolutely.
So Ron, you're all set with us. Colleen will give you your license.
Awesome. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Okay. Have a good night and have a good Christmas.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. Our next, we're a little tiny bit early. Is Al Beauregard here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. You actually asked, I believe, to come and talk to us.
Yes, I was trying to get a site plan approval to park some cars down at the end of the building on the south side. I guess it would be. There's more cars. I'm parking more cars there since Yankee Glass is gone, and I guess they want a site plan approval so I can park the cars there.
And I think what our issue was, we wanted to, I think there were three main things. One was, what are you doing for your water supply? What do you do with your sewage, which I think is going in the sewer? But the other is, when I looked at what you were approved in 1996, I think, it said that you just need to have a gravel driveway and graded. And our concern was that as you get vehicles that are damaged, what do you do to stop that oil or fluids from going into the ground or into the brook?
Well, most of the cars that we park down there are already under repair as of lately. These cars are already in the process of repair, and we're parking them down there before they go into the paint shop, which is a prep where we prep them for paint. So they're really just temporarily there. During the day, there may be 3. At night, we bring them in. Tomorrow, there may be 1. It's different all the time. But those cars, for the most part, and I would say 95%, are not leaking anything.
I guess what does beg the question is if we look at this, like the septic system upgrades that we look at when a change in use comes, we try to fix things that should have been fixed in the past. But we should be asking you, what do you do when cars come in that are leaking, and you put them on that site? What do you do to protect the environment?
Well, the cars that go over there are already in repair process. So the ones that come in that are leaking, they come into the building down the other side, which is tarred and, concrete flooring inside. So if anything is leaking, we contain it in drain pans. Anything that goes on the ground, we try to absorb with a speedy dry or something like that. For the most part, they're not leaking anything down there. If they tow them in, they tow them in sometimes at night, and we're not there. We don't even know that they're coming. they just drop them off. And, again, on the far side of the building, we can only put speedy dry down if there's some oil or something, but most of the time, it's antifreeze, if anything, which I believe now is all biodegradable stuff. Not like the old antifreeze that, would kill you or kill your animals.
And there are lots of, it hasn't switched over to the propylene glycol. There are a lot of ethylene glycols still around, but that's, from my standpoint, it sure would be better that you said, oh, we have a pad in there that's got berms around it, and that's where the damaged cars go in, and whether they're in the night or not, they go onto a safe spot.
Like a concrete pad with absorbent pads around it?
That kind of stuff. Well, what we certainly know is that if you put in even Cumberland Farms or a Dollar General, they would be saying, hey, whatever their parking lot is, when it leaks oil, you have to have an oil collection system for it. And you got a business to collect things that are leaking. That's your job.
Right. And when we do collect them, when they come into the shop, we collect it as much as we can. But there's cars leaking oil that drive up and down 202 all day long. They're probably leaking more than what's going to leak out of one car that has a small radiator leak, or most of it leaked out at the accident scene. We don't have a lot of cars that are leaking antifreeze. Most of them are driven in. So I don't,
Herb and Lee, you're not saying anything.
I'm sorry?
I said Herb and Lee the other two members aren't saying anything. Al.
I'm not sure, listening to Al, that there's a whole lot to say. About potential issues. If in fact the vast majority of the automobiles parked in that site are already repaired and waiting to be painted, that doesn't sound like it's an issue.
Right. These are already in the process of being repaired. And if it needed a new radiator, it's already in the car by the time it gets put down there.
And if there is an issue, as our chairman is stating, that someone tows a car in at night, perhaps there should be a designated spot for those cars to be parked, rather than just dropped off.
Exactly. I agree with that. If I could control all the tow companies and all the drivers, I don't know, AAA may have 15 different drivers and one of them could drop a car off. I don't know who it is or what time they're bringing it. It's kind of hard to do that.
I understand, but you could at least set up some standards that the tow companies are supposed to follow when they drop off cars. No, you can't. Yeah, you could try. You can't control every single one of those tow drivers.
Right. Yeah. I try to use when I have cars towed in, I use a couple local companies, and I do have control over where they put them. So they'll ask me where I want them, and I usually try to put them down the other end, which is all paved, and there's really no issue there. But I'm talking with Dan about utilizing some of the back of that building. where they used to store all their tractors. I don't know if that is going to happen or not, but that might be an option.
My concern is we've got a real potential. We've got a regulation that says that we can't even store the cars in other places on your property without draining the fluids. And we've got a person, you, that's running a business to take those things in and saying, gee, it bothers me that you don't know that an antifreeze spill of ethylene glycol is a reportable incident. You don't know that that's a hazardous material spill. And you're saying, well, I can't control everything. And it's like, the devil made me do it kind of thing, as compared with what Herb is saying. Get something that's set up that says this is the place that you always go. You can label it. You can tell people that don't follow it, saying this is where we're doing, and that's how we're going to control these potential spills.
Okay, so I suppose we could talk about that, but I'm not sure that this is the issue that of getting this site plan approval here is parking these cars down the other end of the building, which originally all started with my used car license. And again, this is just escalated from that, parking those cars down the other end of the building. The used car, the select board wanted a site plan approval because I added more cars to my site plan. So, this all started with that, and now we're here with this, and, some kind of, one thing's leading to another. This can go on forever.
Al, what about a sign that says to tow operators, please deposit all cars in this particular place?
I could do that. I could do that. That's easy enough to do. And I can certainly, if I know a car is coming in, I can request that they leave it in that area.
Right.
But the cars that come in at night, obviously I don't have any control over. And a lot of people just drop them off. Some people hit a deer, they drive it right to the shop and leave it there. I have no idea it's there until I come in the morning. And that's been on many occasions.
But as Herb says, if you put a sign there, at least you would be getting people accustomed to saying, that's how we run this business.
Right. Well, I could certainly do that. I could put a sign on the door that, if you're leaving your vehicle, please park it, on the other end of the building. And hopefully, there'll be I could put a couple signs there. And at least try to get people to park up there. I know, we can do it, but it's the people and the tow companies that drop off after hours that wouldn't know that. And
so
again,
is that piece of property that you mentioned behind the former All Power, is that back piece, is that paved or something, or concrete or tar, or is it just gravel?
I think it used to be tar, but it's kind of broken up a little bit. And I think they gravelled over it, or they put that, like my parking lot, they put the tar with the gravel that sticks to it. I don't know exactly.
Oh, yeah, oil penetration.
Yeah, I think it was that.
I think the major concern here, of course, is just that if somebody drops something off, leaking an older radiator fluid, battery, oil, etc., rear end, tranny, into the ground, which unattended overnight would absorb in and eventually end up in the groundwater. That's probably, that in my estimation, is a primary concern here.
Right.
And that's what we're just trying to, but I believe the board is trying to get a handle on that I think we're all pro business, of course. Expanding is good for everybody, especially you. But we're trying to, at the same time, not let the environment get hit in the head here.
Right. And I understand that. Again, I can only do what I can do. And I can certainly try and designate an area for that. Maybe even, I don't know if it would be allowable, but to put a concrete pad with an absorbent pad around it. Obviously, it would have. I'm not sure how that would work in the rain, but I could look into something like that.
I certainly would
that-
like to. As you
That would be
do
a
that.
huge step, I think.
Yeah.
The other thing,
Well,
I've got to challenge you, Al, and I'm not going to let you off the hook and say anything can happen down at my site when I'm not there. I venture to guess that if you got cars stolen every night while you weren't there, you would put an end to having the cars stolen. It would be important to you, and you do something about it.
Right.
So I think what Herb is saying and Lee's saying,
Yep.
look at, absolutely. I'm not trying to stop you from expanding. I want you to expand, but listen to what we said about saying, could we give some effort to stop this stuff from going in the ground? And it's your business. You know how to. I certainly don't want to tell you to put this pad here or there. I'd like you to run it the way you want to run it, but in a way that stops this stuff from going in the ground. And for you to just come back to us and say, hey, I thought about it, and this is what I'm going to do. It's a way that I can do it pretty inexpensively. Maybe the cost of a couple signs, and some training to the people that come in there, and it won't get fixed the first time, but over time it probably will if you want it to be.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I would imagine, hopefully the tow companies would adhere to, my demands that they park these cars in a designated area. You could only hope that they would comply with, what we want.
And if they don't, you go and the first time it happens, you call the owner of the place up and say, hey guys, if you got to be doing this better. You can blame us. You can say the Board of Health is coming down on me. They're killing me.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
We can certainly try it. I mean, there's, hopefully it'll work out. And, I know I'll certainly do something, as far as, some pads or something that we can put under these cars, when they come in, and secure them to the ground, maybe weight the corners of them down. I'm not sure the exact sizes of them, but I would imagine they're probably at least 4 feet by 6 feet. You could slide under a car to collect all the oil, and the antifreeze would absorb into it. I can certainly
so
look
there's
into
all
that.
different ways that you could try to do that. So why don't you just come up with a way that you say, yeah, we listen to these guys. I can do this better. This is what I'm going to do. And then we say, yeah, go do it.
Yeah.
This is not just a hassle. We're just trying to make it better for everyone.
Right. I understand that. I understand that there's water supplies and stuff that are involved here. And, there's runoff, from the road, as well as, what's coming out of the cars in my lot. Not all of them, but some of them. And, I can give it my best effort to try to contain my part of it. And,
Perfect. That's exactly what we want.
Yep. I would support that for sure. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay. So have a good night. Have a good Christmas.
All right. Is there anything else on here, or is that just it? The leaking fluids and the water protection, I believe, is right. The groundwater protection. That's all we're really looking to do. Obviously, drain any storage cars that are being stored out back.
That's what I was interested in. Herb and Lee, what are your thoughts?
No, I agree. Our only concern was just the environmental impact.
Yep. Okay.
And and again, we're 100% in favor of you expanding your business. It's good for everybody, but we just need to protect our neighbors in that part of town.
Right. Absolutely. Yep. I agree.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Now, do we have Gary here?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you.
So I've got I don't know, did you listen to what our discussion was with Al?
Yes, I did.
And so probably yours was right after we discussed Al at our last meeting and what he was trying to do. We ended up with the same thing, saying, gee, do we have a spot here where we've got a business going in with apparently it looks like garage doors and parked cars, and we don't know what kind of protection you're putting in and what kind of business you're going to have, and how are you going to make sure that the work you have doesn't negatively impact the environment.
Perfect, perfect. I'm a painting contractor. That's my trade. I have 5 employees. This building is for my shop. No one's parking here but my vehicle, my own personal vehicle. There will be a van stored in one of the garages that's heated, so nothing freezes, with, shelving and ladders and spray equipment that doesn't freeze. That's what it's for mostly. You got a 1 bathroom, 1 toilet, 1 sink. We have a ejection pump that's existing that goes to the sewer. We have designated runoff from the roof that will be swelled to the right and left side of the building for runoff for the storm water. It's going to be gravel in front of the garage bays. I'm not sure. So there's not much foot traffic, not much parking there. No vehicles outside at all at night. It's the one to be in the garage that's heated. It's not a big operation. There's no foot traffic, as in no clients coming. Just for me, more or less.
What about paint disposal? Is there any issue with that?
Nope. We everything's most 99% is water soluble. There's no lacquers or thinners, or we don't use it anymore. Thank God. It's tough to work with that. Tough to get it. So there's disposal. It's just we don't do anything there. There's nothing. Everything's on a job site basically to clean up.
So you don't have a hazardous waste permit. You don't need one.
Correct.
And why are you choosing not to, just to save money, not to pave it?
I don't really need it. I wasn't thinking about paving it, and it's impervious, so it can penetrate the water runoff a little bit. I just thought it'd be easier for maintaining, of course, cost also right now. I mean, I wasn't worried about paving it. Just gonna gravel it. We're gonna crown the front of it before it hits the road. So it runs off right, left side of the driveway, runs off into the swells in the front. I don't know if you guys seen the site plans or not.
I have a couple drawings that Colleen passed on to us.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think this is the same situation at all of the last one. That doesn't, that it looks like there aren't going to be many vehicles. There are going to be vehicles that are all operating, and they're not even going to be there overnight outside.
No, they won't be.
Irvin, Lee, what are your thoughts on this one?
I think I heard one truck being parked in a heated area.
You know, one truck, a van is heated, parked at nighttime, because I use a van during the day, when I'm working. My personal vehicle that I drive, a truck, a physical truck, Chevy truck, would be parked in one parking space in front of one of the entry doors, just out of sight, you know, out of my overhead doorway, and parked there during the day, you know.
I don't see an issue here that should take up much more of our time.
Yeah, I agree. I can't see anything wrong here.
I agree with that. So,
I'm not
so I
looking for
guess
anything wrong.
we'll just let the planning board know that we're not concerned about yours.
That'd be fantastic. I appreciate that so much. We're trying to get it going. It's been a long haul. So,
Okay.
Merry Christmas. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Have a good night. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see if we can go through our next ones. I've got Granby Booster Club, and there are 2 permits here. Oh no, just one. The common victulars is for the selectmen, and this is for their food service at sporting events. Do we have a discussion on it? Or is this one that we approve and ask Lynn to inspect it?
I think that's the only way to approve is to get Lynn involved on this thing.
Herb, your thoughts?
This is a food permit for the Granby Boosters Club.
Yeah,
Then this is Lynn.
that's what I think too. So Colleen, with this type that we do is we approve the permit with a Lynn's inspection to verify it's okay.
Yeah, I'll be sending her all the, once you okay them, I'll send all the food permits to her and she'll go out and do the inspection.
Okay. The next one we have is CVS for 2 permits. Milk and ice cream and retail foods. Lee, are you gonna abstain for this?
I'm gonna abstain from this conversation from potential conflict of interest.
Okay. Herb, do you have any issue? I don't have an issue with this one.
There's no issue. This is Lynn again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in fact, yeah, that's right. Okay, so it's approved with Lynn.
Mhm.
Next one is Brusco's Liquor Mart. It is also 2 for tobacco and food.
This is Lynn again.
Mhm.
So we approve it. Lee, you approve this too? With Lynn follow-up?
Yes.
Me
Oh, yeah,
too.
yes.
So that's for both of those.
Mhm.
Let's see, my next one, let's make sure I don't skip any. This is a hauler's permit for Wind River Environmental. Colleen, do you know if this is brand new or is this?
No, that's a renewal. They get one every year.
Okay,
Mhm.
I don't have an issue. Did Lee and Herb?
No issue.
No.
Okay, so that, we approve that one, Colleen. Next
Okay.
one is Leo Fugler. And this is 2 permits, a hauler and an installer's permit. Leo has been here for many, many years. Are we okay with the Herb and Lee? I'm fine with these 2.
I agree.
Herb?
Hauler and installer, is this a wrap?
Yeah. So this is it really is a pumper and an installer.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, so that's approved too, Colleen.
Okay.
The next one is just an installer's permit for Gary's Construction. That's a renewal, right, Gary Pisquini? Yeah,
Yes.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah,
Lee?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Colleen, that's approved.
Okay.
The next one is a well permit for Lot B, Chicopee Street, 5B. Not sure where that, Lee, have you been out there?
No. I'm not quite familiar with this location yet.
It looks like it's more than 100 feet from everybody's septic systems. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't give the permit. You're still gonna have to locate it,
Yeah,
hopefully.
I'll be out there anyway. Whoever is the installer, yes.
I'm okay with this. Herb, are you?
yes.
And Lee, you too. So, yeah, that's approved, Colleen. The next one,
Okay.
oh, I got a double for 2 well. The next one is Lot 12 Bachelor Street. That's the thing that we just approved for the septic part of this for Neil Jackson. And it's more than 100 feet from the tank and the system. I'm okay with this one. Lee and Herb?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's approved, Colleen.
Okay.
We've got a thing that this what is it? It's called campaign disclosure form. If did you read it? It says if there's a thing in here that says if you don't have a campaign committee, if you haven't received any money, I have to see where it's at. Oh, here it says, if you do not have a political committee organized on your behalf and you have not received any contributions, made any expenditures or incurred any liabilities during this reporting period, and you do not have a previous campaign balance, you may, if you choose, simply sign the enclosed M102-0 affidavit form stating those facts. In addition, all incumbents must file a year-end report.
Yeah, this is what I was going to, this is for individuals. Why is this the board?
Oh, it's the next sheet, Herb, that form M102-0, that's for each one of us to sign. And we have to each say to Colleen that we authorize the signature so we can get this done. Colleen, I'm authorizing mine because I comply with that.
Okay.
I comply with it. I authorize it.
Okay.
Yep. Same here, please, Colleen.
Okay. So I'll sign your names. Okay.
Okay. And just make sure it goes in the minutes that we individually authorize it.
I will. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. inspection, Title V inspection reports. We've got 5 of them. One of them, I guess, looks like we just got it and the test was done in August, but it failed. So it doesn't comply with the regulation that says we get it in 30 days. But that was the one for 27 New Ludlow Road. But what we have is 20, since that's a different case than the other 4, do we just receive that anyways and just say that it's Neil's responsibility, it fails? So what are we gonna do? Tell him to go out and fail it again?
Just so everyone is aware, Jeff Lucier is currently, working on that particular piece of property with a new install.
Okay, so my suggestion is that we receive that one. In fact, I'll go the rest and we can receive them all if we agree. 156, so that one's 27 New Ludlow Road by Neil Jackson, and it failed. Next one is 156 Burnett Street, Neil Jackson passes. Next one is 46 Jerry Lane, Neil Jackson passes. Next one is 156 Kendall Street, Nate Peretti passes. 89 Morgan Street, Nick Peretti passes. Lee, what do you say about all 5 of those?
Correct on everything.
So can we, I move that we receive them all as a block? How do you, okay. And everybody in favor?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Colleen, we received them all.
Okay.
We've now on discussion. We've already done the well and septic location at 220 West State Street. And we've got I suggest that we don't deal with COVID issues tonight since we've got a meeting at 2 o'clock tomorrow to talk about COVID issues. I don't know if you all heard the governor today, and he made a couple statements, one of which was that he thinks there are plenty of things to control COVID and the spread of COVID in this state, and that he would encourage people to use masks, but he is not in any way going to have a mask mandate or any kind of mandate. And the other is that he would have no talk about going to remote education by any students. That he said that schools were safe and there are no problems and kids should stay there. But that's his press conference today. But Lee, I don't know if you got it that Colleen did post the meeting for tomorrow, a Zoom meeting for tomorrow at
2, yeah.
2. Yeah. Are there any other COVID issues that we want to discuss tonight?
I thought we just said we're not discussing COVID issues tonight.
Well, that's what I said I would like, but if you guys said, I don't care what Dick says, we're going to discuss it. So, okay, so we won't. How about other business, mail? I don't have any. Oh, we do have something. But you know what? It's a COVID issue, so we won't. It's a COVID issue, the letter that Colleen sent, I think, today, and it has to do with schools too. So that belongs at tomorrow's meeting.
Has anyone gone by the Dollar General to look at the ponds recently?
I have, when I went by, I didn't get out and stop the car. When I went by it looked like the water level, well, it was below where I could see in the first pond. So, but I can't tell you anything was there.
When I drove by today, it looked like there was a layer of ice on there, but I didn't stop to take pictures.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's solved the issue.
No. Okay, so we're gonna have to stay after it and watch it. And that does remind me, I'm supposed to give the lawyer a call. He should be done his court case, so I'll make a note, call him. And I did not address talking to Meredith O'Leary about getting an engineering firm that she would be willing to be using. So I will try to do that this next, well, over this holiday, probably not. Okay. Any other issues, or are we ready to pack it in?
I move we adjourn.
So be it.
Me too. So have a good holiday, everybody, and